Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to Tony the Technician's channel. And today on Tool Talk episode 10, we're going to go into the pros and cons of high tooth count versus low tooth count ratchet or ratcheting wrenches, the ratcheting mechanism. But I'm going to focus on ratchets today. But it doesn't just have to do with the pros and cons of the mechanism itself. It's also a big thing is personal preference. It doesn't matter what you think I think about it, it's how it feels to you. Everybody's different, so all this information is subjective. It's my personal opinion, and if you guys have anything you would like to add or what your thoughts are on this topic, please feel free to drop it down in the comments for others to read. I also enjoy reading all of your guys' comments, as you may know. So we're gonna get into this, and I really hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's do this. Okay, YouTubers, so as you guys may know, ratchets or tools in general have came a long ways in the last like 100 years. Back in the day, it was very common for a very low tooth count. I'm talking, 20, 24 tooth, and around there. And then, it's became a higher and higher tooth count as the years go on. You had 30s and 60s became very popular. And then 72 tooth ratchets became very popular in the last like 5 or 10 years, I would say, or roughly around there. And 72 tooth has been a big thing. And then, you got the Matco 88s and you got the GEARWRENCH 84, and then the 90 tooth has become popular. And then you got like Capri ratcheting wrenches that are 100 tooth. You got the GEARWRENCH 120 XP at 120, but I'll get into that more technical information. You got, I think it's 160 tooths out there, 180s, 200, but those are not as common. I'd say 72, 90, around there is going to be your more common tooth count for today. So the lowest I have is a 60 tooth and a 72 tooth, which technically isn't that low. But then I also have 90s and 120s as well. And that's good enough to get my point across. So for the high tooth count ratchets, I'm going to have the Snap-on FL80, the GEARWRENCH 120 XP, and the Boxo USA Tools 90 tooth. And then I'm going to have a Silver Eagle 60 tooth, a Carlisle 60 tooth, and the GEARWRENCH Roto Ratchet 72 tooth. So as far as the pros for a high tooth count ratcheting mechanism is going to be a low arc swing. Now I'm just going to go ahead and get this out of the way. The GEARWRENCH 120 XP is actually only a 60 tooth main gear, but it has dual pawls, and there's a few companies that now do this with the dual pawl system, and I'll get into why they do that. But each tooth is kind of offset, so every time it rotates, one engages, then the other one engages, one engages, then the other one engages, turning that 60 tooth into 120 positions. So 60 tooth gear, 120 positions, gives you a really low arc swing, and that is 3 degrees. That is one of the main pros to a high tooth count ratchet or ratcheting mechanism, is a low arc swing, nice tight areas. A lot of people I've talked to and read about, on forums, they like high tooth counts in their 1/4 inch ratchets and 3/8 ratchets. And then some people really like to have a low tooth count in their 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch drive, just because that gives them a feeling of strength. And that makes sense. Me personally, I like high tooth count just all around. But okay, so main pro for me on the high tooth count is a low arc swing. And to me, usually a higher tooth count means a lower drag. And by drag, I mean on that back swing, when you're coming to get another tooth and rotate the fastener again, you don't have much drag to that next tooth. It's nice and smooth, and you don't have a lot of resistance there. Because when you do have a lot of resistance there and the bolt isn't out of the threads, but you can't get to it, and you're trying to loosen it, but the bolt and ratchet are turning together so you can't actually grab that next tooth to keep rotating. You know what I'm talking about if you've ran into it before. That's a really big pain. So usually with a higher tooth count, you have less back drag, but that's not just determined by tooth count. That's the mechanism itself, how smooth it is, the quality. I mean, a lot of things play a factor. The stiffness of it, because you can have a high tooth count ratchet with a stiff mechanism. It's, you know, but usually. And then to me, a high tooth count ratchet just feels like it has a smoother operation. That's the pros for it. The cons, the gears are obviously going to have smaller teeth, but on that side being a con, the teeth that engage the main gear, you usually have more teeth engaging it to give it that extra strength. So even though this is a 60 tooth mechanism and dual pulls, you usually have multiple teeth, 6 to 9 teeth, same thing with the Boxo. Usually have 6 to 9 teeth engaging the gear at one time to give it that extra strength since the teeth are smaller. And that's how you get a reliable high tooth count ratchet. Then as far as the low tooth count ratchets, being 60 tooth, you know, all the way down to 20, to me, you're going to get that feeling of strength. You got much larger teeth, so the likeliness of it slipping or breaking is a lot lower. You get more feeling to it every time you feel that click. It just has to go back with that strength, you know, it just feels stronger. The con to it, so these have larger teeth, but may only have a couple teeth engaging that gear, especially on the older 20 and 30 tooth ratchets. The pawls actually would only have 2-3 teeth on them engaging. Now granted, they're larger, so you got strength there, but all the strength is there on those 2 or 3 teeth. Whereas another pro to these is the paw will actually be longer, more teeth engaged. It's spreading that force out along a greater distance instead of a couple teeth. So either way, you can get strength and reliability out of both. There are pros and cons to both, and it comes down to feeling, how you like your ratchet to feel. But a big thing to me is that back drag. I like a nice, smooth, easy back drag that's not going to have me cussing up a storm trying to get out of fastener. Now, either way, if you work on cars, there's going to be cussing involved. And probably some busted knuckles. But hey, those are the pros and cons to each. That's my thoughts on it. Same thing goes for the ratcheting wrenches. But to me, it's less common to have a stiff. Now, my Matco ratcheting wrenches, when I first got those, they were super stiff and it actually jammed up quite often. But now that they're broken in, they operate really smoothly. These Capris have worked really good. These are 100 tooth. But to me, 72 tooth, all my ratcheting wrenches feel about the same as far as back drag and everything, so I didn't get into those. But I'll give you a quick listen to each ratchet and then we'll end this video. This is the Snap-on, 80 tooth, GEARWRENCH 120 XP, Boxo 90. Then getting into the little bit lower, we'll start off with the 72 tooth roto ratchet. This has a lot of back drag to it. It's really stiff. But this has its own uses as well. That can really come in handy. Silver Eagle, 60 tooth. And then the Carlisle 60 tooth. So all around, all very, very good ratchets, but all different purposes. Let me know your guys' thoughts, and if you guys have anything else that you would like to add, throw it down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.